Here's your wrestling news for February 6, 2021. And your headlines for today include: the next Brock Lesnar, Parker Boudreaux, signs with WWE. Is WWE planning for Kevin Owens teaming up with Edge to take on Roman Reigns and Jey Uso at Elimination Chamber 2021? How long must we watch the most unexciting WWE Smackdown feud right now between Dominik Mysterio and King Corbin? WWE nixed comedy spot from Royal Rumble match. Edge and Daniel Bryan pushing for different things as members of WWE creative team. Cesaro badly busted open on Smackdown, his current injury status, and WWE plans for him. We're kicking off today with Parker Boudreaux, as the Brock Lesnar lookalike has signed a development deal with WWE. The Wrestling Observer newsletter is reporting that the football prospect has signed with WWE after being spotted backstage at the January 20th tapings of NXT. At 6'4" and 301 pounds, Boudreaux has been compared to Lesnar in the past thanks to his impressive physique and similar looks. Boudreaux was on his way to being a football star before a concussion sidelined him last year, and the mini Lesnar already has Paul Heyman on his side. On Twitter, the advocate for the Beast has been supportive of Boudreaux, though it's unclear when he'll make his on-screen debut. Interestingly, Boudreaux recently shared a publicity photo of himself with Eva Marie at a Royal Rumble watch party, and with rumors that she signed for a WWE return last year, the self-professed next big thing may not be coming to WWE alone. Now, this week has been a very busy time for Edge, who won the men's Royal Rumble match and confronted the top champions of Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. On the Gold brand, Edge told NXT champion Finn Balor and Pete Dunne he'll wait until after their match at TakeOver Vengeance Day before making a decision, though Roman Reigns wasn't as patient as Balor. On SmackDown, the Universal Champion demanded an answer from Edge by the end of the night, and fans saw Reigns get increasingly anxious over the night as Edge was taking too long to make a decision. Edge was finally spotted backstage talking to Shinsuke Nakamura, and when the Hall of Famer came out in the main event, Reigns quickly interrupted. Demanding that Edge choose him for WrestleMania, the Tribal Chief even sent Jey Uso away to make things fair, before being attacked from behind, yet again, by Kevin Owens, in a massive mistake. Despite stellar matches between the two, there's only so much you can possibly take of Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens, or going by the theme on WWE SmackDown, even Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. This feud has more than passed its expiration date, and with WWE repeating this feud once again, this storyline continues to leave a bad taste in everyone's mouths. WWE had spent so much time building up both Reigns and Owens, but at this point, we know that the prizefighter won't be dethroning the Tribal Chief. As if the idea of yet another Reigns-Owens match wasn't bizarre enough, Edge walked away without giving a reply, which made for a bizarre ending for SmackDown. It's now being rumored that a possible Edge and Owens versus Reigns and Uso tag match will happen at Elimination Chamber, and hopefully this will finally be the end of this feud and the start of Reigns versus Edge. Between this and Carmella wanting another shot at the SmackDown Women's title, the Blue brand is seemingly stuck repeating the same feuds over and over, something that shouldn't be happening so close to WrestleMania. But what do you think? Do you want to see Owens versus Reigns again if the booking was right? Let us know in the comments. This week's SmackDown also saw Dominik Mysterio score a win over King Corbin, but it didn't really help either man out. We're left wondering why WWE spent so much time establishing Corbin as a top star, first on Raw and then on SmackDown, only for him to lose so easily. Corbin doesn't even have the Knights of the Lone Wolf, and you'd think a heel like Corbin would be more aware to the heel tactics used by Dominik, namely getting help from his father. Dominik isn't faring much better either, and at this point, the only way to salvage his career is to have him and Rey go after the SmackDown Tag Team titles at WrestleMania. Simply put, the Corbin vs. Dominik feud has been a dud, arguably the most unexciting feud on SmackDown right now, and has undone a lot of good the feud with Seth Rollins did. On commentary, Cole and Graves agreed on one thing, that Dominik is a very respectful superstar, but lacks the killer instinct to be a top star. At just 24 years old, WWE has plenty of time to build that killer instinct into Dominik, but after he was brushed aside in favor of his sister Aaliyah, and after this dud of a feud with Corbin, consistent TV time is something Dominik desperately needs. But what do you make of Dominik's career so far? Let us know in the comments. Now, this year's Royal Rumble saw 2 huge Rumble matches, the return of Goldberg, and a brutal last man standing match, but there are segments that didn't make the cut. As we previously reported, Otis was a last-minute addition to the men's Rumble match, replacing Angel Garza, and in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, they noted that a comedy spot between the two was in the original plans. They said, Garza was there and was supposed to come in, do a comedy spot tearing off his pants, and then get eliminated right away. At the last minute, Otis was put back in the spot Garza was in. Fans may have struggled to remember that Garza rips off his pants, given that we haven't seen him on TV for a long time. And whilst Otis isn't faring much better at the moment, the WWE chose to feature the former Mr. Money in the Bank last Sunday. More Edge news, as the 2-time Royal Rumble winner isn't just a superstar, but he also works on WWE's writing team alongside Daniel Bryan. In The Observer, it was noted that Edge and Bryan have very different attitudes to their work behind the scenes, and this is reflected with how they're being booked on TV. Edge, at 47, is pushing for a main event title shot, while Bryan, at 39, in his position, is pushing constantly to get other people over. In November, we reported that Bryan is going above and beyond and becoming part of the creative team, and is even mentoring younger talent, whilst Edge has faced criticism for being unmotivated and shows little interest in learning about work behind the scenes. The Hall of Famer even recently said he wants to have an Iron Man match against Bryan now that he's back, and with both men having sway in creative, that could happen in 2021. Over to Smackdown, and Cesaro was badly busted open on this week's show. Facing Daniel Bryan on the show, the match got pretty stiff, and after Bryan repeatedly stomped on Cesaro's head, it wasn't long before the blood flowed from his scalp. By the end of the match, which saw Cesaro win with a sharpshooter, the back of his head was covered in blood. But with such a huge win and a respectful fist bump with Bryan, it's clear that Cesaro wasn't too worried about a bit of blood. More Cesaro news, as the Smackdown star is staying with WWE. As previously reported, the Swiss Superman's contract was set to end after WrestleMania 37, but he's now signed a new deal with the company, according to Dave Meltzer. Though Cesaro is now staying with WWE, his initial refusal to re-sign has hurt him, as Meltzer also noted that he was originally meant to be in Shinsuke Nakamura's spot in the SmackDown Gauntlet match last month. The initial plan, which was an idea from Daniel Bryan, was for Cesaro to start the match and go through everyone before being attacked by Roman Reigns, but he was replaced by Nakamura due to not re-signing. Since that match, fans have been a lot more vocal about their support for the King of Strong Style, and hopefully Cesaro gets another opportunity now that he's re-signed with WWE.